all prepared for. You guys were fooled into believing you just came up with it. It's not true. Anyway, so if we go with Venkat's story of the shark who goes to meet the camel for his birthday, and if it turns out to be an illustrated picture book, so our protagonist would be the shark who's in a desert, and deserts are hot, and the shark is a water animal. So what are the essential changes that a shark would have in an environment like that? So when you are basically faced with a story that needs illustrations and there is a protagonist, and it needs to be illustrated, there are certain key points that you need to ask yourself as an illustrator or a designer, which is, how is the story funny? Is the story scary? Is the story dramatic? Depending on that, you choose your drawing style. So every illustrator has different drawing styles. So as an art director, she chooses the kind of illustrative style that goes for a particular book. And not every illustrator can draw in all styles. It's great if they can, but not always is that possible. So since our story is a funny story, and the shark is a really funny character here, so the drawing style, I have drawn this, like for me this is funny, I don't know if this is funny for you guys, but yeah, so like just giving it like a really big googly eye and making it extremely fat and making it look a bit silly, because essentially the shark is being really silly in the desert, like what the hell are you doing there? And but it's also hot, so if you would go to a desert and if you would see tourists, they often put on a towel or a napkin on their head to cover themselves from the heat and the sunlight, and of course more fashionable ones would wear shades. So I'm guessing that in my universe, in my world, as I see it as an illustrator, the shark is wearing a towel on the head and wears shades also. So depending on that, you come up with first a basic structure of how the character would look. So you use basic primary colors and line drawings to make the character first, and then, which I have not included here, is also bringing out expressions in characters, because oftentimes the words will say something but you will have to fill it in with images. So it's always nice to have a profile of expressions that the character might have, which you guys can explore on your own by sitting in front of the mirror, observing your own face and see how you look when you cry, when you are happy, when you're laughing, and note down, like make emojis out of it basically, and you can appropriate it into your character later. And then of course you have an environment to create, and you have other characters that come in. You have light that is falling on the character, or like depending on the time of the day, whether it's night or it's morning, it's evening, you work with that kind of environment, and then you come up with a final rendition of the character, which is basically of a shark in an extremely hot desert with the sun shining on its head and like probably facing a storm and looking pretty cool, I would say. So that is our protagonist. In the same way, you will come up with the character design for the parakeet or the camel or any other things, whatever requires illustration in the book itself. So that's basically the premise of how the illustrative process works and how the art direction process works, but it's definitely the tip of the iceberg. There are numerous books that you can refer to learn more about it. But what we will do right now, since you guys have a story that is ready and edited, we will try to break it down into a storyboard. Do you guys know what a storyboard is? Can someone explain to me in one line what it is? Yeah.
Like snapshots of the story.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to go? Yeah.
It's a
board which has a story on it, the drawing.
That's pretty literal, I would say, a board with a story. Sure, yeah, in a way.
Explaining the story in only drawings.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
Boxes with images to match what the.
Yeah. So essentially, a storyboard is breaking a page down into its simplest bits with the taking into consideration that you have to put enough space for the text to be fitting into it completely, and also like what are the main elements that will go on a page. Like say, does the opening page have the shark, or is it just the dessert? Would you rather have the shark in it? Would you rather show a hint of the shark and not the complete shark? And where does the text go? Does it go in the bottom, in the corner, in the right, left, where? So this is basically the planning stage for your book, after which you go into making rough drawings, and then you make the full illustrations and the page design. So what you guys can do is take, I don't know how much time do we have? So you guys can take about 20 to 25 minutes to break down your story, which I'm guessing is not too big, into say 6 to 8 pages. 8 pages, you break down your story into 6 pages minimum, 8 pages maximum, and with how much text are you giving in each page and what images are accompanying it. And also, before you do that, if you have a protagonist, which you will have, if you have a protagonist, try to visualize the protagonist in terms of how it looks, where it is from, and what he likes, what he doesn't like. Depending on that, just even a stick figure would do. And then go on to make a storyboard, and by the end of it, who knows? You might just want to upload it on Storyweaver.